Hi everyone, this is Amanda Ellis of amandaellis.co.uk, Facebook page Angelic Celestial Colours, and you're watching me on my YouTube channel, which is Amanda Ellis 11. Welcome to August 2017's video for my work with Archangel Metatron. I don't know why, but the image seems to be a little bit dark, so apologies for that. I was fiddling around with the camera settings and I've obviously done something. I don't know how to correct it now, but it feels quite symbolic actually, because even though we're in the month of August, which here in the Northern Hemisphere is high summer, should be the highest degree of light. We have the Lion's Gate energy coming forward in a few days' time. We usually have the lion, the Leo lion, that wants to roar. I'm feeling August is much more of a mixed bag this year, and actually that we're all a bit in the dark. So the fact that my camera seems to be shooting me a little bit in the dark actually feels quite perfect. So let's try and bring some light in. I'm very clearly being shown two things by Archangel Metatron. One, when I sort of kept asking him over the last couple of days to give me some clarity so I could talk to you, I just kept getting the symbolism of a great big knot, or those of you that knit, it's like a great big ball of wool basically, and it's all sort of tied up and you can't see what that ball of wool is going to create. Or if it's a knot, you can't actually see what the string looks like when it is unknotted. So I'm actually feeling as though I'm going into this video a little bit in the dark, not actually knowing what's going to come out of it, but trusting the process. The second piece of symbolism that he showed me was quite similar, which was a maze, and I'm taken to being a child at Hampton Court Palace, and there's quite a famous maze there. And the thing with mazes is that at the start of them you're quite excited and you're wanting to get to the center, the focal point of it quite quickly. And then what happens is you start to get really frustrated because you just keep going down lots of dead ends. And sometimes you actually even need to put your hand up and ask for help to get you to the center, and then equally to get you out of the maze again. So I'm recording this on the 27th of July, a few days before the August energy really kicks in, and a week or so before the Lion's Gate on the 8/8. And that's where we're at, okay? That is where we're at. We're all a bit in the dark. We're all a bit lost in the maze. We're all waiting for that moment of clarity, or waiting to be in the center of the labyrinth or the maze, and that moment of revelation. I talked about divine intervention a few months ago coming in, and I still believe that, although I feel some people maybe misinterpreted it. And I would just like to say a little bit on that, because divine intervention is always for our highest good, and the highest good of anybody else that we're connected with, if that intervention is going to affect other people in our life. But sometimes it can be the ending that has to come before the new beginning. So to give an analogy, it's a bit like if you were in a failing marriage, needing to get out of it, but not being able to, and then discovering that your husband or your wife has been having an affair. So it's almost like you get the get out of jail free card. And in a way, it's the divine stepping in to show you, for the scales to fall from your eyes, and for intervention to have happened in that way. I'm using that just because it feels a good analogy. So something that on the surface looks as though it's actually very bleak, not an answer to prayer, very difficult, very challenging, could be something that actually long term gets you out of something that isn't working. Okay, so you can apply that to anything. It doesn't have to be about personal relationships. It could be about job. You know, it could be a job that you've been doing that you're not really happy with. Maybe you're not making the money that you really want to be making. Maybe you're not particularly satisfied with what you're doing. Maybe you don't like your boss. I don't know. It's unfulfilling in some degree. And then one day you wake up and you walk into work and you get the redundancy notice. Okay, so those events are just as much divine intervention as something which is very positive right from the off. Does that make sense? So I really wanted to clarify that. So whatever comes in August, because I do feel as though August is a bit of a bumpy ride, and I want to prepare you for that. Please see that whatever is happening is part of a much, much bigger picture than you can realise. And the second half of this year, 2017, is very much about getting us back onto the path or the page of the book that we should have been on. So we're not running round in a maze, not knowing where we're going, coming into dead end after dead end after dead end. Or we're not like that ball of wool or the knot, which implies stress and tension and having got ourselves into a heightened state of fear. Okay, right, I'm going to pull some cards and then we will just flow with whatever Metatron wants to say to us today. I am just going to shuffle these cards, and it's the Art of Love Tarot by Denise Jarvie and Carmine Salerno. Been using those recently and I like them. Well, actually, no, I hadn't been using them very much. I actually found them, when I first got them, quite difficult to read. There's a lot of them. I mean, look how thick. There's so many of them. And they're not always obvious. But actually, the more that I then went back to them and re-looked at them, I thought, actually, I really quite like the fact that I'm struggling to read them. Because in that way, I'm only struggling because it's my mind that was trying to read them. So if you drop down into your heart space and just allow Spirit to speak through you, they can be wonderful tools. Okay, so Metatron, let's just start with one. We've got two there, and I'm going to take that one. That came up in a reading yesterday for somebody, and it feels very appropriate for all of us. As I say, apology if this video is a little bit dark. It's the card of strength, okay? It's the card of strength. It's a major arcana that appears in probably any deck of cards, okay? The card of strength. And what we have here is a warrior, effectively. She looks like a warrior. She has her wings on her back and she has her arms up, a bit sort of like that, as if you're about to go into battle or do something. It's a very strident pose, okay? It's not a pose which is sort of like that, you know, and sort of downbeat and hiding. It's very strident. It's very sort of like, I'm here and I do have the strength to go through this month, to see it through to its natural conclusion. And I am aligned, I'm very much aligned with Spirit that is trying to help me at this moment in time. So she's our central energy, which we're just going to put there. And it's also a number 8 vibration as we move into the 8th month, which is August. So let's just put that up again. So the 8th month, we have the 8th card, Major Arcana, Strength. We need our strength to get through August. It doesn't mean it's all going to be bad. It just means that it is a month where we need to be linking into our light rather than our fear, okay? And funny actually, because I know August is a month linked to Leo, so it's linked to the lion, and probably in previous years I've talked to you about, you know, that roar that the lion has, you know. It can be quite aggressive. Let's face it, you wouldn't want to come face to face with a lion. It can be quite aggressive. It's a fighter. It's strident. It's purposeful. It means business. You get out of the way, if you see a lion. But I'm being very much drawn this year to a different feeling coming through with the lion energy, which is very much one about the lion only does that when it really has to. Most of the time, the lion is actually about conserving its strength. You don't approach it because you know deep down how fierce it is. It doesn't actually need to show its teeth or its fangs or its claws. You know it has a strength and a ferocity that can take you down. And in a way, I think we're all being asked to be a bit like that. We don't have to show our claws. We don't have to be vitriolic. We don't have to be hard this month. We actually have to be and embody the softer qualities of the lion, which is actually one which is very much about just sometimes just being present, just being present and knowing that we have that inner strength. And if we were pushed, we absolutely could go into battle and we would win that battle. But we don't have to be like that this August. It's much more about detachment, observation, conservation, and yeah, that inner strength that's coming through. Now I'm quite interested what the other card was that I rejected. And I'm laughing because it's this one, which is the card of stability. So we don't ever want to reject that energy, of course. So stability came with the card of strength, okay? Stability and strength together. I like that, the two S's. Let's just look at those together. Stability and strength. I'm hearing, because we've got the energy of the tree here with the card of stability, I'm hearing very much like the tree, we actually have to acknowledge all that we've done up to this point in our life. Everything that we have endured, everything that we have survived, everything that we have learnt from, everything that has served a purpose for us has basically made us put our roots deeper and deeper into this incarnation, into this life. And it's very much that the tree is stable as long as it also has flexibility. There's no point a tree being very, or you being very, having that inner strength, that core of steel, able to withstand anything, if you don't have a degree of flexibility. Because what happens is a gust of wind can come and it can snap that in half. So you have to also be able to be adaptable this August, is what that is saying to me. Okay, let's just now pull two more to go with that, and let's see what we get and build up a bit of a picture to try and get us out of this maze-like state and this knot of tension and worry that many of us are feeling. And actually Metatron is saying, before I pull any more cards, just talk about that a little bit, because I don't know about you, but I'm sensing very, very strongly and the eclipses that are coming up. We've got a lunar eclipse on the 7th of August, day before Lionsgate, and then we've got a solar eclipse on the, I think it's the 21st of August. We've got some powerful eclipse energies and Lionsgate. And I know you've heard me say this 100 times, but I've never said it quite as seriously as I'm saying it now. This is a time of endings. This is a time of endings to bring in the new. And I definitely am feeling that in my own life. I'm picking up on what the endings could be. There's a few different scenarios that they could be in my life. And there is a degree, and it's okay to acknowledge that there is a degree of uncertainty that comes in with that. It's as though what I'm being shown is we all know that there is a great big wave. I've used the analogy of a wave before, but the wave has gone way, way out. And we're all sort of taking a sharp intake of breath. knowing over the next month it's about to come back in. And it will come back in and it will cleanse your life. It will wash clean your life. And when it then goes back out again, what is left is what is meant to still be there, okay? So things, people, possessions, behaviors, habits, whatever no longer serves is going to be washed clean. It's going to be washed away. Okay, Metatron's just saying to use the analogy of the crab. So I'm a Cancerian, so I'm a crab. And so let's just use that analogy for the moment, because we've just come out of the sign of Cancer, so that energy is still very much prevalent at the moment as well. What Cancerians do, what crabs do, because we're all a bit crab-like at the moment, whether we are a Cancerian or not, because we've just come out of the time of Cancer. Crabs have claws, okay, and they will do anything to stop change from flowing in. They will put their claws down into the sand, or if that doesn't work, they will sort of move sideways around obstacles. They'll do anything to avoid change. And if you're Cancerian, that's particularly notable at the moment, okay? And I know I'm speaking to a few of you, but there's many other people out there watching this who are not Cancerian, but we're all sharing that same trait at the moment. And it's just really interesting to me, because I'm feeling, although we've come into the sign of Leo, which should be this period of great strength and, as I say, raw, it doesn't feel like that to me. And I think it's because it is so complex. There are some big things to happen in August. There are some endings to come, and we need to be a bit brave, we need to be a bit courageous, we need to have our strength to deal with that. There are also amazing, beautiful blessings and opportunities coming in as well. But it is not as clear-cut as just on the 8th of August, we all put our hands to the air, we receive this upgrade and everything is hunky-dory in our life, okay? The upgrade is coming in this year because we need it to see us through the next half of this year, which is about what you haven't dealt with, you're going to have to deal with, okay? And that might sound very scary, but it doesn't need to, because you have got angelic help. You have got so much spiritual assistance around you. That word, divine intervention, okay? The divine knows ultimately what is for your highest good and the highest good of other people around you, okay? Even if you cannot see it. All right, let's now just select a couple more cards, okay? So let's see, well, let's pull another 3. I do like my 5s. I like to have 5. We're all about the 5th dimension, aren't we? So let's have 5 cards and see which come out. Even the weather is topsy-turvy, you know? It's July the 27th and it's cloudy, it's dull here in the UK. It's a bit disappointing. Loads of other places around the world are having all sorts of terrible fires, and, you know, Mother Nature is a little bit screwed up at the moment as well. You know, she doesn't know whether she's coming or going either. She's got herself into a knot, a ball of worry, and, you know, we need to be making our way out of that. And the way that we make our way out of that is via the energy of love. So we've got the Ace of Hearts. That's nice to see. That is the angelic intervention that's coming in, okay? And it comes in with love. Even if you don't feel it as love, it's love. And I say that because those of you that have followed me for a long time know I've talked many, many times that Metatron can sometimes be tough love, okay? But it is always love, and it always has your best interests at heart. Okay, what goes with that card of love? Culmination. I've got the same message coming through. I've got love and culmination. So we're coming to a point of culmination. It also feels as though this isn't just about relationships. This is also linked into business. It's linked into projects. It's linked into activities. So it's as though it's a very strange card, that one, because culmination, when you think about it, I'm being shown the harvest as well. And harvest is a time when we reap the rewards of everything, you know, that we have sowed in the past. And it's a time of joy and celebration. But let's be honest, if you look at that card, and I put it a bit closer up to the screen, she looks a little bit sorrowful, doesn't she? She looks a bit sorrowful. And what Metatron is saying to me here is that what is to culminate over the next few months, what is to complete its cycle, please try in the next few weeks to finish it on the right note, okay? So those of you that maybe are in relationships that you have a feeling are coming to the end of a cycle, please note, I'm not saying the end of a relationship, it doesn't have to be that, but it may well be the end of a cycle. Make sure that you tie up all the loose ends, you know, that things are said that need to be said before moving on to the next stage of life. The analogy I'm being given, for example, is somebody that decides to move country, okay? You move country or you move to a different house. And there is this expectation that because you're making the move or you're having a new baby or anything that's coming in or a new job, that it's automatically going to be better because you've made the change. The problem is that unless you've tied up the loose ends from the last thing that you were doing, whatever that is, you carry forward baggage the whole time. You know, we carry forward baggage, don't we, from relationship to relationship if we haven't dealt with it. There's no point this coming into your life. This is the Ace of Hearts. This is as good as it gets. This is almost like, you know, the White Knight on his horse coming in, offering love. There's no point him coming in if you haven't dealt with your stuff from your past relationship, because all you'll do is you'll taint that. You'll taint it. You'll spoil it. So whatever area of life we're talking about, coming to completion, coming to the end of a cycle, make sure that you finish it, you complete it. And this talks about karma as well, in the best possible way that you can, okay? So this has to be about communication. It has to be about honest heart sharing. It has to be also about, I'm hearing the word forgiveness, okay? Forgiving those that have wronged us. And this is going into all sorts of different areas. I'm not just talking about love here. I'm feeling there's a lot of career endings for a lot of you as well at the moment. A lot of choices that have to be made with jobs and careers and what you're actually doing with your life. And again, it's the same thing. I mean, thinking back to my business career, I was a lot younger, admittedly, but there were a couple of occasions when I think I referred to it in my last video where I got burnt out on 2 different occasions with work, because I've always worked hard and, you know, this was just ridiculous. And I got burnt out and I left companies on a bad note twice. Unfortunately, the good that I'd put in during the time meant that I always got a good reference because I'm a good person, basically. It's just that the day that I left, the day that I walked out, I hadn't done what is being asked here of us. I hadn't spoken up before the volcano blew, you know, before the tears started falling, before everyone started to think, what on earth's the matter with her? Why is she behaving so out of character? You know, I should have spoken up months and months before that ever happened. You know, don't leave on a bad note. Even the big things like divorce, you know, if you can, make it as amicable as you can, because ultimately you married that person for love. You married that person because when you married them, you believed in them, you loved them, you saw something good in them. Even if it's now gone sour, have the integrity to end it as well as you can. Metatron's been talking to me a lot over months, really, about a template that wants to come in for those that are struggling in relationship, which is about leaving in a 5th dimensional way, okay? What does that mean? What it definitely doesn't mean is screaming and shouting and accusing, okay? Even if you're the one that is having that thrown at you, you know, you detach from it. You stay in your fifth dimensional vibration as much as you can. The other big ending that's coming up for some people already, you know, it's already happening. I mean, it happens all the time, of course, is death, you know, it's loss. There's a lot of loss around at the moment. So again, if you're one of those people that is facing that coming into your life, and you know deep down that maybe somebody is coming to the end of their journey on this earth, try to wrap it up as well as you can, you know, say what needs to be said, forgive what needs to be said. You don't want to come back again and do it all again in the next life. You know, this is a time for karma to be wrapped up and completed as well and as beautifully, Metatron is saying, as beautifully as you can. And oh my goodness, I've just got such a flood of love coming in here. I'm going to bring in let's just pause for one moment just to feel that flow of love. Bring in the pink ray. Let's all send a request up to our higher selves for any ending that comes in over the next few months, for it to be a beautiful end. With love at its core. And whatever that means to you in your life, those of you that are watching, you know, Metatron is saying, you already know. Fill your heart with love. Fill your being with love. Give thanks for everything that you've learnt over the last cycle. And for some of you, it may have been years. Give thanks. Have gratitude. Forgive what needs to forgive. And then you can move on. Let's take a deep breath together, 3 deep breaths, and we're going to breathe in now. What are we going to breathe in? I'm looking at bottles on my desk. I've selected some, you see, and I'm just wondering which one. Let's breathe in fire. Fire dragon, Metatron. It's the element of fire. Because fire is the greatest purifier, isn't it? Okay, I'm just going to spray that around myself, and we're going to pull in the dragon's energy. The Metatron fire dragon. And let's take 3 deep breaths in together. Breathing in strength. Breathing out strength. Breathing in strength. Breathing out strength. Breathing in strength. Breathing out strength. 3 more times. This time we're going to breathe in stability. Breathing in stability. Breathing out stability. Take it deep into your core. Breathing in stability. Breathing out stability. Deeper down into your core. Breathing in stability. Breathing out stability. See what message the dragon has for us. The dragon is reminding us that it has wings, that it isn't just earthbound. It is able to be present upon the earth as you are, but it also has wings that can either fan the flames of challenge, despair, fear, desperation. It can fan those and make them bigger, or you can. Or you can use the dragon's wings to calm and transmute and lessen and lessen and lower and lower until we come back to the core, to that rod of steel that we have within us. Use the element of fire wisely this August. Don't fan the flames that aren't meant to be fanned. Use the fire element to transmute what needs to be transmuted before culmination. And if the flames of fire are to be heightened in any way, fan the flames of love, of passion, and of hope. Nothing else. These are strong, powerful energies that we have in August at our disposal. We can use them for ill and our own ill as well. We can feed our own fear. We can let it consume us. We can be in that maze and not be able to find our way out. Or we can use fire symbolically as the beacon, the light that leads us home, that leads us to the next stage of our journey. Let's have two more cards. August 2017. Guidance, please, Archangel Metatron. Thanking you for your presence and energy at all times. That one, he's saying. I'm going to do one more. See what we get. That one. Mysticism, the Page of Angels, and the Vibration of Joy. Hooray! We've got some joy, thank God. Let's look at the Page of Angels first. Put her up to the camera. You see she's got that beautiful blue butterfly. And actually the blue butterfly is in the centre of her solar plexus, her core. We need to all be working on our solar plexus and our core. I think the fire energy, the fire element is really important to just be visualizing, flowing in to your core, your solar plexus, your stomach, your digestive area. And funny actually, let me just show you something I noticed today talking about solar plexus. I've shown you this before. This is my Buddha who sits on my desk, and he's green fluorite. But what I've never noticed about him before, I don't know whether it's going to come out on the camera, is he has a very pronounced line down his stomach. Okay, he's got a nice big fat stomach. And can you see, it's like his stomach is split into two, actually. One half of it is like purple fluorite, and the other half is virtually clear. Okay, this half is clear, this half is dark. And I looked at him this morning, and he always looks jolly, but it's like half of his stomach is full of joy and the other half feels more empty. yet he still has a smile on his face. He's still filled with joy. Okay, and he said to me when I noticed it, he said, okay, Amanda, but also for all of you, is it glass half full or is it glass half empty? And that feels as though that's a very important message also for this August. Are you going to be glass half empty? Oh, woe is me, this is happening, you know, falling into victimhood? Or are you going to be glass half full, thanking the universe for coming to your aid, appreciating that endings might well be happening, but even through grief, even through loss, even through endings that are still painful, no one is saying that that might not happen, you still are able to look at a higher perspective and feel the gratitude and thanks for what was, knowing that what comes in eventually is joy. I don't mean to say eventually. It doesn't mean that, you know, it's months and months off. I just mean that I know that when something is taken away, when we have a period of ending, there is always, always, always a new beginning. But it doesn't necessarily happen the day after, okay? So we have the Page of Angels here, mysticism, and we have joy. Rather than just viewing your faith, your belief, as a crutch, and not meaning to be rude there, but you know, some people do, view it as a source of real joy, real happiness in your life. I did a session with somebody recently and I talked about this, and they've been feeling a bit down and a bit depressed. And I could relate to it. I get down, I get depressed, but I said to them, I said, I've always noticed that often when I get down and when I get depressed, it's when I am resisting my path. It's when I've gone into fear and I'm thinking, no, I can't do that, or can't do what's being asked of me there. And I build up all these excuses in my head why I can't, you know? Oh, I'll do it in 2 years' time, or I'll do, you know, all the excuses, all the blocks. And it leads to a feeling of real depression, actually, and sadness. And the remedy for me, and I felt this particular client I was counselling at the time, was just get back in the saddle, actually, you know? Whatever it is, whether it's painting a picture, it's making music, it's doing a video, it's writing, it's doing exercise, whatever it is. We're all different, we're all unique. But whatever constitutes your spiritual path, and what's important for you is you've got to follow the signs. You've got to get back in that saddle, and you get back in the saddle even through times which are difficult and challenging. In fact, particularly then, you know, sometimes when we go through real difficulty, that's the moment when, strangely, we forget all the tools. I've done it. Hands up, I've done it. I know what I'm talking about, and I know you've done it as well. And then you think, hold on a minute, well, why have I stopped meditating? Why have I stopped exercising? Oh, when was the last time I got my crystals out? Oh, when did I last use my sprays? Oh, when did I last use an affirmation? None of this is difficult. What's difficult is remembering to do it through the difficult times as well as the good times, all the times. Get back in the saddle. Because effectively, the mystical, what's called the mystical here, the spiritual, that brings you back into a state of joy. How can it not? How can it not? Whatever is going on around you, how can it not bring you back into joy? Because when you're working with an angelic energy, or you're linking into an angelic energy, or you're meditating, whatever it is you're healing, you are linked in to the energy of love. And love heals everything. Okay, I've got 6 cards here. So as we're in the 8th month, let's pull another 2, and then I'm going to pull a sacred geometry card. Okay, so 2 more to make up our 8 for August. We'll all be okay. Promise you that. We've all done this many, many times before as well. How many lives have we shared together? Number 12. Many lives. Oh gosh. I'm going to pull that again because they went, there's a few fell out at the same time. I just want one, please. That number 12 card's interesting. Anyway, let's have one card that goes with that number 12 Metatron. Please. It's playing hardball now. Won't give me one more card. One more card, please. That one. Oh, okay, beautiful. Right, let's put these two up to the camera so you can see them. Okay. We've got the card of revolution, the turnaround, and then we've got the card of success. Okay. Revolution, turnaround, success. Now, because these cards are different, I'm just trying to remember what 12 is in the classic tarot. Let me look it up on my phone because I think it's the Tower. It would make sense that it is the Tower. Can I just check that for one moment, please? Tarot card. I know now you're all shouting at me saying, yes, it's the Tower, it's the Tower. Oh, no, it's not. Is it the Hanged Man? No, it's the Hanged Man. It's a good job I checked. Okay, it's the Hanged Man. It's not the Tower. Ah. Anyway, it's not called that in this deck. It's called the Turnaround and it's called Revolution. Let's just think about that for one moment. We're talking about this in your personal life, personal revolution, but let's just broaden it out now to the collective as well to make sense of the personal. Any period of revolution that we have gone through in the history of mankind has been a bit turbulent, a bit challenging. Revolution just doesn't just come from people sitting at home in their lounges watching the TV, you know. It comes from people taking action. It comes from people putting their hand out like that strength card and saying enough. Enough. No more. It needs to change. We need to have a revolution. We need to turn it round and see things now from the opposite direction or from a completely different direction, okay? What it isn't is stagnant. There is no stagnancy over the second half of this year. And I'm talking second half because I strongly feel that August heralds it in, okay? August is the start of it. August is the gateway. That's what the 8-8 energy is all about this year. And these eclipses. It's setting the scene for what follows. Metatron is saying to me, he's showing me here a theatre, okay? And it's like we've all been in our own lives performing a particular performance with particular characters. We all know our lines quite well. We know the character that we're playing. And then the curtain comes down on the performance. Not on our life, but the curtain comes down on that chapter, on that act. After August, what happens is the curtain rises again. The scenery has been changed. The people coming onto the stage are different. There are still a few key characters that you recognise from the other act. And you're still there, but you're not quite sure what you're doing, okay? You might actually be a cameraman, you know, you might not even be on the stage. You know, you might have changed roles completely. But it's different. And can you feel the freshness and the different energy when that curtain goes back up? But for that curtain to go back up and reveal something completely different for you and your life, you need to have finished off the act, the previous act. And what you want is when that curtain comes down on the act that you're in now, for the applause to be like that. Job well done, okay? We're back to what Metatron was saying earlier. Make sure culmination and endings are done as peacefully, as beautifully, and with love as they possibly can be. I remember years ago going to a funeral of a boss of mine. In fact, it's the boss that I talked about in my last video, Peter Cooper, who I had issues with because he was such a workaholic. probably a bit of button pressing, because I am too. But anyway, at the time I didn't understand all that. And anyway, we made our peace and everything, and I really respect his work, and got to that place of peace. But when at his funeral, what happened was, at the end of the service, everybody gave him a round of applause. You know, his life, they gave his life a round of applause. Oh my God, it was so beautiful. It stayed with me as a moment to really just take note of. And it was so spontaneous, it was so natural, it was so heartfelt. The people were there, they were just applauding this man's life. And in a way, that's what we're wanting for ourselves now. We're not at the end of our lives, but we are at the end of a cycle of our life, okay? There is a cycle that's ending here. And what you want from behind the veil as well, I'm hearing, is not just people in this life, for their higher self to be applauding you. Remember that, it's higher self applauding, because lower self might be doing something else completely, but higher self to be applauding. But you also want your ancestors to be applauding, okay? On the radio a few days ago, again, another thing that just struck me was there was like a phone in, and it was one of these things where, what did your great-grandfather do? And there were all these amazing stories coming in, you know, people ringing in saying, oh, my great-grandfather did this, or he became that. And there was just this feeling of real pride, you know, 2 generations, 3 generations, however many generations, because some of them are great-great-grandfathers, future ancestors, effectively, present day, who are saying, oh yeah, this person in my family did that, or behaved in this way, or paved the way for this. And I thought, yeah, that's what you want. You know, you want to be a memory in the future, even if it's 3, 4 generations down, where they say, oh yeah, you know, great auntie whatever, she did this. And then that sense of pride that person has, that you did that. Can you feel how special that is? Okay, and we can all do that. You can do that. Whoever I'm talking to now, you're watching me and I'm seeing your energy. And you can do that. You can be the best you can be, but you've got to tie up the ends of this last cycle, okay? So revolution is in the air. Revolution is in the air collectively, which is why we're seeing old structures falling down, and that's going to continue, and I'm sure we're going to see that through August, September, October, November and December too. But it brings in, wow, look at what it brings in, the 6 of stars. It brings in success. And this success card, the woman that's representing it, the angel that's representing it, she's holding a bunch of beautiful white flowers against her higher heart, which feel very symbolic. And she's just surrounded by starlight. It's the card of success. What more is there to say? You know, it's the light. It's not just the light at the end of the tunnel. It's the fireworks at the end of the tunnel. You know, the sort of the applause at the end of the tunnel. Okay, I'm going to end here by choosing a card for us, piece of sacred geometry. Maybe it might be something for us to, I don't know, visualize or focus on. We'll see what Metatron wants us to have. Maybe there's a message. Well, there will be a message, obviously, but we'll see which one he wants to show us to help us this August. This is a deck of cards from Francine Hart, those of you that like to know which decks I'm using. So Sacred Geometry deck, Francine Hart, Metatron, which is the main symbol that we need this August. He's telling me to stop here. Okay. I can't even pronounce that. So I'll put the word up there. Tzolkin. No idea how you pronounce it. So I'm going to read the words that go with that. And I'm going to learn with you. It's vibration number 3. Funny actually, because when I was shuffling the cards, I was thinking it's going to be a circle. It's going to be a circle. And it's actually called Circle of Time. So even though I don't recognise the name of it, Tzolkin, I obviously recognise the circle. Okay, this is the message, guys. The ancient Maya, who are revered as master timekeepers, created a calendar whose accuracy has not slipped one day in over 25 centuries. This circular representation of a portion of that tradition, called the Zolkin, or sacred round, is based on a count of 260 days. As the illustration shows, 20 of these days are named, and they each have 13 facets. Pulling this card reminds you to consider how time is affecting your life. Are you engaging time as a wave that nurtures, allowing segments for deep relaxation and personal development? Or have you become enslaved to time, finding barely enough opportunity to get the essentials to this circle of time? Take a brief moment to view your relationship to the circle of time and the hopes and dreams you place within the circle of your life experience. View this card as representing a signpost of cosmic order, a reminder that your time in the physical world is yours to orchestrate. Let time become a measure of the joy, growth, and freedom that passes through your days and nights. What an important message that is. Really what the card is about is the circle of time, the cycles of time. And this whole video has been about talking about endings, new beginnings which are coming in. And so, therefore, let's think about August is also a time to manifest in and start to think about and start to generate the energy for this next phase that wants to come in for you. And if you've been run off your feet like a mad idiot, you know, with no time for what you want to be doing, now is a chance to reset the dial, you know, to reset the dial, to start to carve out some periods in your life that are vital for your well-being, whether that be to do with spiritual things like meditation, whether it be to do with exercise, whether it be to do with socializing and having more fun, whether it be to do with working harder, you know. I don't know, it's going to be different for all of you, but you're going to know. You know, I've had a wake-up call myself recently. Those of you that follow me know about it. You know, I've got a bit of high blood pressure at the moment, so I'm going to have to, in this next stage of my life, look at exercise and diet much more closely. I have no choice, because obviously I want to be fit and healthy. So I'm viewing that wake-up call, that divine intervention that came in to show me that I had the problem, as very, very beneficial. I'm not viewing it as a negative at all. I don't allow myself the time to exercise because I'm always thinking, oh no, I need to be doing X, Y, and Z instead. That has to stop. So I'm going to be carving out at least 3 times in the week where I go back to the gym, which is what I always used to do, and do it. No excuses. It's the next chapter that comes up. It's the next act. You are in charge of how you write the next chapter of your life. If you wanted to carry on the same old way, you could end this cycle and you could start another one that looks pretty much identical. Do you want to do that? What would be the point? I certainly don't. You know, I want to evolve. I want to be better. I want to improve. And I know you do too. So think about, you know, the diary, the calendar, the week that you have, week after week. How do you structure it? How do you want it to be? Some of you I know are going through big changes with work. You might be downscaling your work. You might be going self-employed. Or you might just be working in a very different way. So use time to your advantage, not against you. Time is the greatest gift really that we get given in this incarnation. We get given the time, however short or however long it is, to experience this thing called life. And as I speak, the sun's come out. You have to take my word for that. The sun has come out. We've come through this darkness that was there at the start of this video, the gloomy clouds. We've got sunshine, you know? Appreciate all of it. Right. Anything else to say, Metatron? He's saying leave them with a bit of earth energy. the earth element, okay? Because to really make full use of this time that we have here, you've got to be grounded, you've got to be connected into Gaia, who birthed you. Let's just put our roots down into Mother Earth. Oh, this is such a powerful spray. I just want to breathe it in. Okay, so she's saying to you that throughout the coming weeks and months, even if the ground underneath you shakes, symbolically, physically, energetically, know that you will be placed upon the piece of earth that you're next meant to be upon. And you are meant to dance upon her. You are meant to be light upon her. You are meant to be respectful upon her. And she wants you to be happy, be joyful, be light. And by doing that, you help her vibration to be playful, joyful, and light. The earth is a playground. The earth is a playground for souls to come and experience what it is to be divine in a physical body. Enjoy this life. Enjoy all of the multifaceted aspects of it, all of the emotions, all of the chapters, all of the acts. And also remember that those of you that are going through loss, that are going through difficulty, that are going through challenge, the rain that comes into your life will not last forever. The sun will come out again, and the rainbow is in the sky as that bridge between the two. This is my promise to you. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, everyone, and I will speak to you next. I'm going to try and channel through a meditation linked to Lionsgate, but I wanted to get this out today. Much love to you all. I hope you can feel the energy that's just pouring. It's pouring through me, and I hope you can feel it. It's just this mellowness, this... I can hear that song, I don't know who sang it, that Sweet Surrender. Sweet, who sang that? A sense of sweet surrender. There is a sense of sweet surrender here, right now. Who's going to join me in that? I think the song was Wet, Wet, Wet. Am I right? Namaste, everybody. I love you all very much. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your birthday wishes also that you gave me. I was overwhelmed with love, actually. It was very, very beautiful. We'll all be okay. Much love. Bye-bye.